Imagine sitting alone in your room. No music, no TV, no buzzing phone, just silence and the sound of your own breathing. Now ask yourself, how long could you really sit there without reaching for a distraction? 5 minutes? Maybe 10? Or are you already itching to grab something, anything, to keep yourself from sinking into that silence, that discomfort you're feeling? It's not weakness, it's not brokenness, it's conditioning. You're living in a world that has turned your own mind into something to fear. A world that profits every time you run from yourself. Every app, every ad, every platform is designed to keep you from facing what's real, your own thoughts. And guess what? It's working. You've been trained to fear solitude, to run from your own presence, and you probably didn't even notice. We've normalized the great escape. Every morning starts with betrayal, not against someone else, but against ourselves. Before you even open your eyes fully, your hand is already searching for your phone like it's a life raft. You haven't even greeted your own mind, and you've already flooded it with notifications, updates, opinions, trends, distractions. We've become so good at escaping ourselves, we don't even recognize that it's a problem. But this isn't just about phones or social media. This runs deeper. This is ancient. The fear of sitting with ourselves has always been there. Technology just gave us infinite ways to avoid it. Ask yourself, when was the last time you allowed yourself to think without rushing to fix something, judge something, distract yourself? When did you just sit and feel without trying to numb it? For most of us, that's a distant memory. Some haven't done it in years, some maybe never. And it shows, because the world around us is drowning in noise, not just the traffic or the talking or the background chaos. The real noise is internal. It's the mental clutter of always being on, always comparing, always hustling, always worrying you're falling behind. Social media doesn't just distract, it distorts. You scroll through highlight reels and wonder why your life doesn't look as curated. You feel like a failure because your Tuesday afternoon isn't as exciting as someone's Bali vacation. Career noise tells you that rest equals laziness, that if you're not burning out, you're not trying hard enough. That being busy is the new status symbol. Relationship noise tells you to always be available, always be performing, because love is earned, not given. Consumer noise whispers that you're not enough until you buy more, own more, become more. And all of it, every single layer, is designed to pull you further from yourself. But why is silence so terrifying? Because silence brings truth. When everything stops, that's when your real thoughts show up. The ones you buried, the ones you abandoned, the parts of you don't want to look at, the disappointments, the broken relationships, the dreams you gave up on, the versions of you that never got to breathe. That's what shows up when you unplug. That's why silence feels like danger. But it's not danger. It's detox. You're not in harm's way. You're just finally meeting yourself without filters. And that confrontation is uncomfortable because you've been taught that silence equals loneliness. That being alone means there's something wrong with you. That if you're not out there being seen, you're disappearing. But the real tragedy isn't being alone. It's never getting to know the person you live with 24/7. You. We've been trained to believe that our value is measured by how productive we are, how available we are, how seen we are. But when you sit in silence, none of that matters. Only truth does. We've lost something precious, something that once defined wisdom, clarity, peace. We've lost the ability to just be with ourselves. Think about that. How can you make honest decisions about your life if you've never taken the time to figure out what you actually want? How can you love deeply if you've never examined what love means to you? How can you find peace if your mind has never been quiet enough to even know what peace feels like? We've become strangers to our own soul. We know more about celebrities than we do about our own values. We can describe TV plots in detail, but we can't explain what drives us. We're informed, but we're empty. We're connected, but we're lost. We're scrolling through other people's lives while our own remains unexplored. Solitude used to be sacred, a space to reflect, to grow, to meet the raw, unfiltered version of ourselves. Now, it's treated like a disease. If you're alone, people assume something's wrong with you. No partner? You must be broken. No weekend plans? You must be boring. No desire to chase clout? You must be invisible. We've made busyness a badge of honor and silence a red flag. We've taught people to fill every second of their day just so they don't have to think. But here's the catch. The loneliest people are not the ones sitting alone at home. They're the ones in packed rooms feeling unseen. They're the ones with partners who don't understand them. They're the ones with 1,000 followers and not one true connection. Loneliness isn't solved by presence. It's solved by connection. Starting with the connection you have with yourself. If you've never truly been with yourself, no amount of external noise will fill that gap. No text message, no relationship, no weekend getaway can fix a disconnection from your own soul. That's why people jump from one job to another, one person to another, one hobby to another. Not because they're chasing excitement, but because they're running from themselves. And society doesn't mind. In fact, society prefers it that way. Because when you start sitting with yourself, when you become familiar with your own voice, you begin to question things. Dangerous things. Like, why am I living by someone else's rules? Why am I working in a job that drains me? Why do I need to impress people I don't even respect? Why do I need to prove myself through stuff I buy or things I post? These questions threaten the system, because people who know themselves stop buying nonsense. They stop chasing empty goals. They stop consuming blindly. They slow down, think more clearly, act more intentionally. And that's terrible for a world that runs on insecurity. So the world keeps you distracted. Distracted people are easier to manipulate, easier to sell to, easier to control. Silence is dangerous because it awakens your clarity. That's why your phone is designed to keep you scrolling. That's why the noise never stops. Because silence, real silence, is the birthplace of self-awareness. And self-awareness is the first step to freedom. But let me prepare you. Your first step into silence will be uncomfortable, like really uncomfortable. Your mind will race. Your body might twitch. You'll feel like something is wrong. That's not failure. It's your nervous system detoxing from years of overstimulation. That tight chest, that anxious flutter, that restless urge to check your phone, that's withdrawal. But push through it. Breathe through it. What's waiting on the other side isn't fear, it's freedom. Once your mind slows down, once the noise fades, you'll start to hear something else. Your real voice. That voice you start to hear in the silence. It's not the one shaped by likes, trends, or the expectations of others. It's the one that's been buried underneath the noise for years. The one that knows what actually matters to you. The one that isn't swayed by fear or forced validation. It's the part of you that remembers who you were before the world told you who to be. And that voice, it's been whispering all along. You just haven't been quiet enough to hear it. This is what solitude gives you. Not perfection, not constant peace, but truth. And with truth comes the power to change. What no one teaches you growing up is that the most important relationship in your entire life isn't with your parents, your friends, your partner. It's with yourself. That sounds cliche until you realize that every relationship you build is a reflection of how well you understand, accept, and respect who you are. If you don't know your own boundaries, people will walk all over you. If you don't respect your own time, no one else will. If you don't sit with your own emotions, you'll bleed them onto the people around you. And if you can't love your own company, you'll end up desperate for people who give you temporary relief from your own discomfort. That's not love, that's dependency. And that's why solitude isn't selfish, it's essential. Here's where it all flips. The better you become at being alone, the better you become in your relationships. You're not needy. You're not clinging to others to fill a void. You're not reacting out of fear or insecurity. You're choosing people from a place of strength, not lack. You're engaging because you want to, not because you have to. You're not afraid of silence anymore, so you don't need to fill it with noise or fake connection. You begin to walk into conversations with presence instead of performance. You stop chasing people who don't value you because you already value yourself. That kind of calm, that kind of grounded energy, it doesn't go unnoticed. It's magnetic. People feel it, and the ones who are healthy enough will respect it. So, how do you start? You don't need a 10-day silent retreat. You don't need to delete everything and move to the woods. You start with 5 minutes, just 5 minutes a day. No music, no phone, no agenda. Just you and your thoughts. Sit there. Let the anxiety come up. Let the boredom crawl in. Let your brain throw tantrums. Let it all happen, and don't run. Don't judge it. Don't fix it. Just feel it. That's the practice. That's the work. And over time, 5 minutes turns into 10, 10 into 20. Eventually, an hour alone with yourself doesn't feel like punishment. It feels like coming home. This isn't about being antisocial. It's about being deeply rooted in who you are, so you don't get lost in who others want you to be. Because every time you choose silence over stimulation, you grow a little stronger. Every time you sit with discomfort, you grow more resilient. Every time you face your thoughts instead of fleeing them, you gain clarity. And that clarity becomes your compass. In a world that profits from confusion and distraction, that compass is power. So, if you've been wondering why you feel so overwhelmed, so scattered, so unsure, maybe it's not because you're lost. Maybe it's just because you've never had a real moment to stop and ask yourself where you're going. And now that you do, now that you know how to meet yourself in silence, you can finally stop running. You can stop chasing. You can stop pretending. You can start living for you, on your terms, in alignment with your truth. The world will keep trying to sell you the noise. But now you know, the real treasure, the real peace, the real answers, they're not in the scroll, they're in the stillness. And the bravest thing you'll ever do is learn to sit with yourself. Comment unstoppable if you stayed with this message until the very end. If this video gave you clarity, support the channel so we can continue creating content that brings people back to themselves. When you support this channel, you're not just helping us. You're helping others find the truth that's been buried under noise. Your share, your like, your comment, it makes these insights reach more people who need to hear them. So, if this changed something in you, imagine what it can do for someone else. Now go. Spend 5 minutes alone. You owe yourself that much.